Hey, Matt.
Hey, Pat.
Welcome to the podcast. It is, I guess, week 3 or 4, some number greater than 1, less than 5.
Probably three.
So, what's up with you?
Not much new with me.
That's,
I
yeah.
I just finished Witcher 2 for the first time.
I have, oh, so jealous
I
because I
don't.
played 2 hours of The Witcher 2 and then never went back.
I think you might enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it. You should probably go back and finish it someday.
See, here's the
Um,
problem. I bought that and Asura's Wrath on the same day.
well, you've been through Asura's Wrath now.
Yeah, I was just saying, it didn't stand a chance.
No, I did not. I have such a love-hate relationship with that game because when the combat and the mechanics work the way they should, it's beautiful. I think it's really well designed, but they so often don't work the way they should. Like, there's a lot of nuance to the combat. Like the distance you're at changes the kind of attack animation Geralt uses. But it's really important that you use the right attack animation at the right time in that game. It's not like it's not like Ninja Gaiden where it's little. I hate saying Ninja Gaiden's easy, but you get a bit more leeway with the animation you're supposed to do.
Hmm.
You're vulnerable at every single point in that game. If you're on the screen, the hitbox the enemies have for hitting you is usually ridiculous. It's just stupidly bigger than it should
It's a
be.
big dome all around you.
And they can all block at like a moment's notice. Unless you did something to stagger them first, they can block at a moment's notice. And if they even block a quick attack, you're vulnerable for everything to just murder you. So
Oh,
it's a really tight game, but it breaks all the time. He'll use inappropriate attack animations from the distance. Like he'll be up close and he'll do his big spinny move that has a huge wind up and leaves you vulnerable for forever.
hmm.
And the game has other moments. Like there are at least several hard fights that I can remember where the fight starts before you get control of Geralt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's one fight I remember going through that I went through like 20 times trying to beat it because it starts with me getting two crossbow bolts in the back of my head.
It's just like,
And it's almost impossible for me not to get them. It was pure luck when they didn't shoot.
uh, it's like one of those terrible things where it quick saves right before you take a whole bunch of damage.
No,
You're
I
just
had to quick
stuck.
save. I had to quick save before a long talking scene that I had to go through every time. But yeah, there's moments like that where I feel like the gameplay just breaks and it's really frustrating. Otherwise, I feel like what they have, if it doesn't break, is very well done, and I liked it. I felt like I hunted monsters a lot less in this game than I did in the first one.
I think that's a bigger part of Witcher 3. There's a lot
Yeah,
more monster hunting. Are
I've
you
been kind
excited
of.
for Witcher 3?
I didn't. I wasn't. Then I watched it, and now I'm getting hyped for it
I,
again.
I think any trailer that has, like, unintelligible tribal chanting
Hmm.
always gets me. That, like, last part of the trailer where he's riding around the horse and it's like, yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, that gets me. I dig that.
I
Geralt's
was
pretty
watching their
dope.
like hour-long gameplay video for it. I was like, "Oh, this looks neat. It looks like they might have fixed some of their issues."
That's cool.
And they also have some UI issues. Like, you got to really dig through your inventory if you have a lot, because they put all enhancements, like they put temporary enhancements, like the oils you use for your swords, in the
Hmm.
same menu. You have to go through to find the ones you put in, like the permanent ones that permanently enhance your sword or your armor. They're all in the same menu,
Oh, really?
and it's
Eee.
similar for like when you want to go through what ingredients you have. They're all in one menu. Like they have a whole ton of sub menus. Just they needed to get filters in there to make it better.
Okay. So
I'm
you're gonna
hoping to see
replay
that.
through it again? I hear it has two vast. Like, there's like a mid-game point where it's like, hey, everything's totally different.
It's not even mid game. It's like real early on
Oh,
too.
okay. Wow.
It's basically you choose to go with one character over the other, and they're at
Let me guess.
complete.
Hat turban guy or not hat turban guy?
Well, the hat turban guy is one of them, yes.
Yes.
But
That's
the other
all I
guy does not
remember.
wear a hat turban.
Awesome. That's as far as I remember getting.
Okay.
I
The
was
other,
dealing
the
with
other
hat
guy is
turban guy.
the elf guy Orbith.
Okay.
Is it
Cool.
like bandana eye patch?
Okay.
Yeah, they're two different people. They're different as night and day, and it changes the remaining two chapters of the game drastically.
Is his name Bandana Eye Patch?
It is now.
That would be awesome. Uh, on my side, I played a bunch more Half Minute Hero. I finished the first quest and the second quest,
Hmm.
and I won't really go into it because the game's silly. But pro tip: if anybody picks up the PC version, don't use the new graphics. Not only did they look like crap, but they actually changed the gameplay and
Hmm.
make it worse. So, like, In the first mode, it's like an RPG, but when you enter a random battle, it just says your character running to the right, and it just does the math. Like, you'll run into the enemies, and it'll do the math of whether or not it would have killed you, and you'll just run through. And that's, like, how the gameplay goes. In the new graphics version, all of the generations are like that. If you play the pixelated PSP graphics, like, the other one has a monster summoning system, the third generation's, like, a side-scrolling shooter. Like, they got rid of all of that, so don't play with the new graphics.
I wonder if the demake for Binding of Isaac is going to be like that.
I don't know. They're making more of Binding and Isaac?
They're making a demake of it.
Oh, like a Game Boy version or something?
Well, no, it's going to be on PC again. Probably on consoles. I don't know.
Well, I just mean like Game Boy graphics. So like beep, bloop.
No, it's like, you know how they got hand-drawn art right now?
Yeah.
It's just going to be pixel graphics now. Like, they seemed like, I remember them talking like this. Yeah, this is what we wanted to do with it. I think it's much better this way. And I've seen a couple of screenshots from like months ago when they talked about it, and it looks worse than the hand-drawn art by a lot.
I have to imagine.
I don't know why they would do that. That game is less disturbing in pixels. I don't know why they would want to do that.
I had this moment. I don't know what made me think of it, but I think all of my resistance to the indie game scene has 100% to do with Indie Game the Movie. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
It's on Netflix. It covers the development of Braid, Fez, and Super Meat Boy.
Well, I know at least two of those creators are complete, they're unfriendly people.
And I think that's the reason I don't like indie games, is because Phil Fish is a piece of garbage. The programmer for Super Meat Boy is like the least likable human being on the planet. The artist guy, Ed McMillan, I think his name is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome.
That's good.
And Jonathan Blow is an alien.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I think the ending of Braid, that crappy like word bubble, like World War II nuke bomb illusion, like maybe like every third letter backwards translated into Spanish is it's a message to find like his equal. Like he's looking for a mate or something. If you see Indie Game the Movie, he just seems lonely and like he's building games to try and find other aliens that are trapped on this planet. But do you ever do Humble Bundles?
It's been a long time since I've gotten one. I don't remember the last one I got was.
So I snagged the current one back when it was still under $5. Right now it's currently hovering at $6.54. I think this is the best way that anybody can get King of Fighters 13, the Steam edition. The other games are The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, which is apparently a Diablo ripoff. Deadlight, I have no idea what that is. Galactic Civilizations 2, no idea what that is.
Oh, it's very popular space, basically like Civilization in space.
Oh, shoot, that's awesome then.
Very popular. I'm surprised you didn't know about it.
Terraria, which now I own 2 copies of. Hey man, do you want a copy of Terraria?
Did they stop? They abandoned Terraria, didn't they? Like they had a lot of. I don't know for sure that they did that. I just know it's been a long time since I've checked in on it.
I'm not built for Terraria. I shouldn't own Terraria, but I do. Crusader Kings 2.
Ryan loves that game.
I have it now. I guess like Yo Dog, I got that in the 3 DLC packs.
It is really hard to get into that if you're not familiar with like the whole Europa Universalis games.
It's really funny because I totally got this for King of Fighters. Every other game sounds like the antithesis of me as a human being. The Legend of Grimrock.
Oh, that one sounds like up your alley.
Really? I watched the trailer. It's like a first-person dungeon crawler.
I thought you liked those.
Maybe. Pixel Junk Eden. And Orcs Must Die 2, the complete edition.
Also sounded like another one that was up your alley.
I will have to try that one out. Playing King of Fighters 13, I've been playing on the PC, and by that I mean I've been trying to go through the trials, because the combos are really hard in that game. I wish I was better, but I'm not. I think that's the only real thing that's going on. There's a big Xbox Live sale going on. Shadow Complex is on sale for like the 3 people that don't have it. Get Shadow Complex.
I might get that.
That game is dope. Super cheap. There's other things. The second season of Walking Dead and the Fables game are both on sale. People don't have that either. It's called the binge/watch sale. There's a whole bunch of games.
Episode 5 of Walking Dead is about to come out.
I know! I haven't played. I still haven't finished the third one.
I haven't started the third one.
Hashtag my Clementine hasn't gone through that game at all.
No, I want to, but I don't want to.
All right, so I think that's all the news. Oh yeah, and hey Matt, you gonna get that Pokemon fighting game?
I haven't seen a whole lot about it yet. I haven't bothered to look. Why don't you tell me?
It is from the creators of Tekken,
Oh,
and right now it's Japan only, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. Nothing's Japan only, especially if it has Pokemon in the title. Um, and it's supposed to be a not as easy as Smash Brothers, but not as hard as Tekken. Is the comment that the development team gave it.
hmm.
So I don't know. Could be. I want to play Machamp. If they don't have Machamp, F that game. They should have all the fighting types.
I imagine they'd have to. What about Machop?
I wonder if so. There was
Lee's got to be in it.
so the first. Well, this is the issue that DBZ games always run into. I wonder if the Pokemon game has transformations.
Hmm.
Instead of like super moves, maybe if you fill a bar, you can like evolve or something. And then you would deal with the fact that you do more damage, but you're slower. And do you want to save that, or maybe that's like a menu option, like different versions of characters or something. I'm not sure. I don't think they're thinking about it that much. I bet it'll just have like separate characters for each. Is that's what DBZ eventually did?
I'm worried about the number of Pokemon that'll be in that I have no idea even exist.
What do you? There's got to be 15 Pokemon in that game. They're all going to be Pikachu.
Just
Every
every
single
evolution of Pikachu's in the game.
Yep, Pikachu, Pika-Pee, or Pika.
I don't remember what the baby Pikachu is called.
I think it's Pichu.
Pichu, yeah.
Yeah. Togepi. Can I
Little
play as
link
Brock? That's who I want to play
Just
as.
play as Brock.
I want to be Brock. I want to fight a Bulbasaur as Brock.
I'll play as Zubatman.
Yeah! My parents are murdered and I'm inspired by this Zubat. Rah! Oh, God. That would be... I want it... Yeah. That... We've invented a better game.
Did you not see that flash? It was Flash. Did you not see that animation with Zubatman?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I don't use the internet.
I could have sworn I sent that to you a while ago. I'll have to. Dude, it's just dude is Zubatman.
Zubatman. I will Google that after the show. So I guess that's the big thing. I guess the subtopic we can talk about today, because we're going to go over some more Korra, is this weekend Doctor Who aired.
Yeah.
And I think we both watched it, right? You said you saw it on
Yep.
Sunday?
Sometime this weekend.
Peter Capaldi. So I guess give a quick rundown for people who don't care about spoilers. They did not get rid of any of the Matt Smith continuity. Clara is still the sidekick.
In fact, they did everything in their power to let you know that the Matt Smith continuity is there in strength.
Yeah. You spend the whole episode with the Victorian dinosaur lady, her lesbian wife, Strax, who should be the president. And, yeah, the whole episode's in Elizabethan England. And they reference one of the David Tennant episodes. And there's a cameo at the end of the episode that I think fans of the Matt Smith era will appreciate.
Oh, they referenced a lot more than just one Tennant episode.
Well, yeah, so now if people don't want this, skipping the time code to the core discussion. So, what'd you think? And now the door's open. Feel free.
I thought it was a good introduction episode. Basically, it was just an episode about Capaldi. More than it was anything else, I thought. Like, it was like, all right, this is Capaldi. This is the kind of thing you're going to get from him. I wonder how much of that script was written after the huge backlash they got about his casting.
Oh,
because
God, I hope not.
They were in your face. Like, there was one point where they were browbeating anyone who naysayed Capaldi's casting.
Oh.
Like, they were literally yelling at the audience.
The
for
audience
not
was
wanting him.
Clara.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, you superficial jerks! He's showing you his real side. I couldn't deal with... I actually got in trouble while I was watching this episode. I started zoning out and checking my phone during the dinosaur lady talk down scene because of how little I cared about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, aren't you paying attention? I'm like, eh. But everything with Capaldi's great.
Yeah, I like him. So far I like him anyways. I think he's going to be a really cool doctor, and I look forward to seeing more.
I'm
But I think like that's the thing though. Like this is only the first episode. I don't feel like he's really in it yet.
yeah, I
Like it always takes a couple episodes for them to warm up and just sort of maybe it takes episodes for the audience to warm up and really see what the new character is.
see that's the thing. I really, really love the first Matt Smith episode though.
Mm.
That hit the ground running. Like they the way they played with his confusion, they dealt with him eating. Like by the end of the episode, he had that great "say my name" moment, the giant eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
This felt really like this really felt a lot like the first Tenet episode.
Because he was in bed for a good portion of it.
He spent a lot of it in bed. There's
A lot of it was about people around him.
Yeah, a lot of it's just like, okay, guys, don't worry. We're gonna hold your hand, even though you understand what regenerations are. This is a regeneration. And it had like a lot of baggage that I wish they could have gotten through because when the doctor finally got to be, for me the episode started when he was in the alley with the homeless man,
Hmm.
and I like that scene where he's just,
What are the odds you think we're going to see that exact same homeless man again?
I would love that.
I bet you we will.
I want totally. I like the whole thing where it's like, how often do you see this face in the mirror? Every day, sir.
It's
The
like, I
Sonic
want your coat.
Yeah, I need my coat. Like him mugging a homeless guy.
Yeah, it's like, but I'm cold.
Did he have that coat in the next scene, or did he have a
He did.
different
He kept it
okay.
because remember Clara was berating him. He's like, where'd you get that coat? I bought it. You don't have money.
That was good. I like the restaurant sequence. The one thing I hope they don't keep up is I don't like the whole no. What's the real question here?
No, they're gonna do that again.
I know that's gonna be in every episode where he's gonna be like, no, no, that's not the question, children.
And the real question is something stupid, anyways.
Oh god, have there been any other murders like it? Which I feel like that's a great idea, like the whole concept of that conversation, but I didn't like how it was done.
Mm.
So I guess the thing I was dancing around earlier is it's revealed the bad guys of this are the sister ship of that time traveling French, like cut people up, replace parts ship.
Mm-hmm.
Which I liked that callback, but I wasn't too wild about like creepy robot man just talking about paradise.
It was weird, but Doctor Who is often just weird, anyways.
I felt like it could have been weirder.
Hmm.
It almost felt like he
His
was.
escape pod was a human skin balloon.
I saw Alton Brown of Good Eats was using the hashtag flesh balloon
Uh-huh.
all this weekend, and I really dug that. But yeah, it was just this kind of weird. It was an interesting callback. It's weird to call back to an episode that long ago, but that is a Moffat written episode, and if there's one thing he likes to do, it's expand upon the 6 or 7 episodes that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Well,
yeah,
that's what this whole episode was, basically. Is again, it was just at every single turn they could, they were just fermenting. Is that the right word? They were cementing. There we go.
yeah.
Just that this is still the same Doctor Who. Everything you've seen still applies, and it was just kind of just continuing to let you know that again and again and again and again. Just bring old references, old illusions in. I don't know if they thought that was kind of being for a cool factor. It seemed like it was more there to establish a fact for new watchers.
Yeah, it was really weird. As a fan, and I guess, and I think there's a lot of people, I think we're both in the same boat. We're fans because they put all the old show on Netflix. Like, that's where we come from. We just
Yeah.
binge watched the hell out of it. We got the Russell Davies era Doctors, and then we checked out Matt Smith. And I feel like in this binge era, you don't really need to do these, like, let's catch everybody up. It felt kind of weird that they just didn't feel the need to be like I kind of wanted them to be like in an adventure in progress.
Right. Well, they wanted to do, yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to see too. I wanted to jump more into it than that. Again, it felt like it was an introductory episode. It was like, well, let's just introduce things and make sure you're settled with how the new Doctor is.
Oh, and speaking of just not taking any risks, how about the fact, and just to skip ahead a little extra, the next week's episode is Daleks.
I think you hate that too much.
Maybe that is just me, but I feel like you have this new Doctor, and then all of a sudden it's right back to Daleks.
Okay, well, they already told you just straight out there's going to be Daleks, so I imagine it's probably going to be a little more interesting than just that there's Dalek villains in it.
I hope. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm underthinking this. Maybe
Because
there'll be a
usually,
good twist.
usually if they're going to be leaning on a Dalek crutch for an episode, they save it as like a twist or something.
I
Like it's a surprise. There's Daleks.
I still do like the whole like I am your soldier from the World War II Daleks. I like the way they
Mhm.
talked. So to get back to the episode, I guess the only other really the two things to discuss is so yo dog, did he shove him or not? Did he convince the robot man to commit suicide or did he push him?
That's a good question. Because they were building up. They were using a lot of pretty heavy-handed symbolism for that whole sequence of them talking.
Yeah,
Like the like when they literally pointed out the John dies at the end axe
yeah.
issue. It's like, is it still the same broom? And then literally when he holds up the silver plate and they're both two sides of the same coin.
That was oh
It's
god.
like, wow.
I had him. I did have a little like oh come on.
It's like I get it. He's been replaced his own parts for a long time now. He may no longer be the original Doctor.
Yeah,
I get it.
that's a little overhanded. And
I think he shoved him. I think they're making it pretty obvious that the Doctor tries not to kill, but he does.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to come clean with that fact in this one.
I
He
think
introduced himself saying, "Hey, here's some scotch. I think I might have to kill you. I'm sorry."
yeah. But at that point too, if he's saying that he's lying, then does that mean he lied about thinking that he was going to have to kill him, or I feel like he shoved him too because he gave an intense like eyeball stare at the camera.
I think that's what we're supposed to be learning about this new Doctor.
So here's the thing I think that's going to suck is when we're forced to watch a flashback to him not pushing him in about like the season finale.
Yeah.
Because I think that he so at the end of the episode with Clara, he has a line where he's like, "I'm over 2,000 years old. I've made a lot of mistakes." I bet you that this season ends with the TNG styled Q courtroom where the Doctor is put on trial,
Mm.
and that's going to be something that'll be brought up. I feel like this is like the series plays. It seems to be playing like really open faced. I bet the Doctor's going to go on trial. I feel like this is where this is going.
Well, we'll find out. I'm interested in seeing how the rest of the series, this season series, whatever you are from, goes. Just because I really liked Tennant's run, I felt like there was a lot of kind of pained humanity in him, and then Matt Smith's run felt more like it was just a long fairy tale.
Yeah, the fairy tale did wear out, but I like to call him the cocaine doctor, and I liked it when he was the cocaine doctor.
So I'm interested to see how Capaldi, because I think Capaldi's going to. I think the whole point of Capaldi, I think what they're trying to say here, is we're going to be taking a break from the fairy tale. Like they laid it down straight. It's like, yeah, maybe I kill people. I'm not your boyfriend. Yada yada.
Well, the fun thing I liked about that line is she was like, "I know," and he says, "I wasn't talking to you."
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing where he's like, "No, I'm not." I keep that
I didn't
clear.
say it was your mistake.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the Matt Smith phone call from Transalore?
I thought that was good.
I liked that. I liked the official passing, and it's that thing where like when you have the new thing, you want the old thing. So getting it out of the way, like it hit me in all the ways they probably wanted it to. Where it was like, oh, the Doctor.
Yeah.
So
I think
happy
for all
and
of our
jokey.
complaining that they, especially with their heavy-handed symbology in this, I really feel like they did nail it and very well craft this episode to do exactly what they wanted it to do.
I'm curious as to where it's going, and I guess the final thing is they had I don't remember if this was post credits or not, but the final sequence with the lady.
I thought she was like another regeneration of River.
Oh,
That was my first thought. I was like, that can't be right.
I hope they don't do that.
It wouldn't be that dull.
You know what my theory is?
What?
That's the Master.
That would be kind of funny. I
Totally
like that.
think that's the Master. So it's going to be turning the whole like adversarial thing into like a love thing. I think
I
that'd be
can
good.
get behind that. Just the amount of strings I think Moffat did, because I think another central theme they had for the whole for the Smith run was just like everything means something in a different episode. Pay attention to everything.
Yeah,
Like, all those intertwining strings he wanted to pull. I think he's doing it again here.
there will be
I
a
think
quiz.
yeah, and I think they know you're looking for them this time, so they're throwing them in as many as they can.
And I wonder how many red herrings are going to be tossed in
Exactly. Like there will be tests later.
So maybe they are really overplaying it. So one of the things I was talking, so I'm thinking he had the line early on in the episode. I totally forgot about this, where he's looking and he says, "I don't know where the faces come from, but I think I've seen this one before." Is that
Yeah.
referencing
What'd you say?
Pompeii?
Pompeii.
So do you think that is what it's referencing? Like he accidentally grabbed this Pompeii face,
I
or
think that is exactly what they're saying there. I think they are directly addressing the fact that the Doctor was already in this show once.
Huh. Yeah? So, or is that one of his mistakes? Should he have not saved that family in Pompeii?
Mm.
Maybe they were the direct ancestors of Hitler. Throwing that out there. The Doctor cost Hitler, and then he didn't kill him. But yeah, I'm curious, and I'm actually kind of stoked that we just started a podcast right in time to reviewing Doctor Who episodes weekly. I guess that's part of the show now.
I guess so. Fixed point in time. Couldn't change it. So
There,
sorry.
one big flat circle. Oh, which is True. Did you ever see True Detective?
No.
All right, well then I'll just make the one big flat circle joke, and I guess have to move on
Yes, you
because
do.
that does not carry between. So that's our Doctor Who. I mean, people are probably going to watch it. I mean, there's no real point in giving Doctor Who episodes a rating because people are going to watch it.
Yep.
Though I do have to say, if people are wanting some good Doctor Who episodes, look for an episode called The Library and Into Darkness,
Those are easily my two favorite episodes.
because Donna Noble has left the library. Donna Noble has been saved.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Oh,
Hey, who turned out the
God.
lights?
Man, for all the complaints that I may or may not have about Moffat running this show, number one, Sherlock is phenomenal. Like, he does a great work on that show.
Hmm.
And number two, like, Blink, the library episodes, Are You My Mummy? Like, those are all Moffat episodes. So
Hmm.
he has a lot of really classic modern era Doctor Who stuff that I am stoked about. So yeah, Doctor Who. Oh, and I guess before we move on to our main topic, I watched a whole bunch of the LCS this weekend.
So you did. I've been pretty much following the LCS via your Twitter feed.
And I guess if anyone didn't see the LCS and they're interested, it's the playoffs. Day one was TSM versus Dignitas, battle of the I want to throw harder than you want to throw. Those games were a hilarious sloppy mess. Uh, the games 1 and 2 end in backdoors.
Wow.
The first game was and I shit you not, a Nasus backdoor.
Was it literally a back door and not just a split push?
He left it was a successful split push.
Okay.
So what happened is he split pushed all the Nasus split. The ones, perhaps you've seen this before, but Zion Spartan on Nasus walked all the way down the lane and took the inhibitor without being pushed out.
Heh.
So then Dig and TSM have a team fight. Instead of going to the team fight, when he did the split push, Zion Spartan left a ward in the TSM base, teleported to the ward, walked over to the Nexus and killed it while the team fight was happening across the map. And that was the first game. The second game was even sloppier and ended with TSM doing 3 backdoors in a row, where the AD carry tried to backdoor, brought the Nexus down to low health, so then their mid laner went in to try and finish the Nexus, got it almost all the way, and then I think Dyrus walked in and finally landed the last. They took turns. They went in one at a time.
Hmm.
And then the other two were also depressingly weird and sloppy and made it's like, oh my god, this can't be. How did we get here? The Challenger games were actually pretty exciting. Speaking of backdoors, there was also a backdoor in the Challenger series. It was Team Coast, which is a much better team now that they have a new roster. They got kicked out of the LCS, and they picked up a new roster. And they were against Team LOLPro, which is one of the two Curse organization teams. And except for the one time that LOLPro wins, Coast mainly stomps them. But there's some... LOLPro is a fun team to watch, so those are worth watching. Day 2, the statement happened. Day 2, everything changed when the Fire Nation attack, is what I'm going to say about this. So, Curse CLG is the kind of perfect like when people look for narratives in esports, this is the narrative you'll want. So Curse started this season. They pick up X Special from TSM, who is considered the best support in NA. He joins Curse, and they're supposed to be the best. They've been winning all their practice matches. They choke for the first full half of the season. And then they finally work out their issues. They come in fourth. So you have this team that looks like they're on the rise. CLG, on the other hand, was in first place for part of the season. Started faltering. They look like they're having infighting. So they skipped the last week of the normal LCS and moved to Korea for a month and practiced in Korea. So you have a team that came back from Korean boot camping against this Curse team that has been shaky in the past but looks good, and the battle collided. And I guess, did you see the spoiler of what I was tweeting about? Like,
I probably don't remember it.
Curse beat the shit out of them. It was... So the first game was pretty... I think a lot of people are overjudging the 3-0. But the first game was actually pretty close, but the first game, like... CLG was done. The second game was 22 minutes long. Like, it was like... And that wasn't a surrender. It was a 22-minute just crush. Like, CLG made a bad push bot, and Curse took a 17-minute Baron. And used that to just empty the game out. And Game 3 has some really good highlight moments, because CLG thought that you could ban out Curse, but left open Yasuo and Maokai. And Maokai has one of the best and easiest forms of proccing the Yasuo ult. And it was just another stomp. The Challenger series after that was a really fun series. A really stupid and fun series between Curse Academy, which is the other Curse team, and Team 8, a team that has had the worst luck ever. So, like, the first time they tried to get into the LCS, they were matched up against Cloud9, who's the best team in A. The second time they tried to go through the Challenger Series, they were matched up against LMQ, who's the Chinese team that is now the second best team in A. So they fought against Curse Academy. It was a goofy set. In one of the games, Fizz top was played. And the Fizz won, I think, 10-0 and 5. It was ridiculous. It was really goofy. And the playoffs at PAX this week should be nuts. All the games should be good. All of them, bar none.
Cool.
So I guess we'll move on to our main topic. We talked a little bit about Korra 2 weeks ago. So I guess just to check and see if we'll change our plans, have you seen the ending yet?
I am at the episode right before the hour-long finale.
Perfect. Okay, cool. That's what we were planning on doing today. I would love to devote an entire segment to the ending, because I'm happy with it. And just to talk about it and stuff like that. But we're going to be covering episodes 7 through 11 today. That is the original Airbenders through the Ultimatum. So I've taken notes. We'll go through them one at a time. If you want to jump around, feel free. So to give a quick synopsis, episode 7 is called The Original Airbenders. It's kind of a filler episode. It takes place 100% at the Air Temple. So basically, the long and short of it is Tenzin is the worst teacher in the world. He doesn't inspire anybody, takes a lot of bad advice, and then Kai and Jinora get into antics that force everybody to team up. And it ends with the Airbenders kind of somewhat coming closer together, and they inherit a tribe of wild air bison. What did you think of the original Airbenders, Matt?
I think it's unfair to call that a filler episode, per se, because it felt like it was more important to what they had set up before. Because I think if they had just not given us an episode where they explored what was happening with the Northern Air Temple, we would have been really left out with what happened later on.
I feel like that you could have just given them a couple of cuts, like every now and then. Like, though, you know what? Maybe that was one of the problems with season 2. Mm-hmm. Was they kept cutting to Tenzin. You're like, who gives a shit? Maybe if they condensed that all into one episode. So maybe you're right. Maybe this was a good call.
I feel like it was much better way to handle that. Even if in this episode, at least Tenzin was still coming off as completely incompetent.
Yeah, I still cannot even begin to comprehend how it is that, like, he's learned this lesson before. It's like the exact same thing that happened with Korra, and he's doing it all over again. And it's one of those, like, why do they... I don't understand that that's the thing.
I don't understand. It's like, it's not even that funny to watch him do it. It's like, oh, I'm going to take advice from Boomy. This advice is terrible, but I'm going to keep with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna misinterpret it and be like a total asshole.
Just why? Like he'd see that it wasn't working and that it was making people not happy with him. Why was he so dedicated to the plan he got from Boomy?
I was really disappointed that Pema didn't like smack some sense into him. She seems like a really sensible character.
Mm-hmm.
And we also, one of the things I do like about that episode is that they establish, and I guess I should have assumed this, that Pema was one of the air disciples.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never guessed, like, where did Pema come from? It's like, oh, okay, no wonder. No wonder Tenzin dug her. She was, like, someone that was interested into him and was also way into airbending culture. And I think that makes a great deal of sense. And I like that Milo, I think, has his best line of the whole series in this episode.
Yeah, look to the right, look to your left.
One of these people will not survive. I love Milo so much. I just one of the things I thought that was kind of goofy about this episode was they had this whole kind of subplot where Kai was like trying to convince Janora. It's like, well, you should be the master. Why can't you get tattoos? You're so amazing. Like this weird like devil on her shoulder kind of thing, which I guess is all part of the shipping. But I
I
don't
think
know.
it was a good part because it brought up a good question that I think I've been wondering for a while. Why doesn't she have tattoos?
Yeah, I guess so. I was trying to remember, and I don't. In the original Avatar series, so Aang had him because he was a really gifted airbender. Did the other kids in the flashbacks have arrows too?
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, no, she totally should have been tatted then.
yeah. So other like I don't remember if every kid did, but I definitely remember that the older I know that all the adults did, and I'm pretty sure other kids had tattoos. Like it seemed like for a while we were because I remember when they never 'cause back then in that series they never explained they were tattoos, so we were just wondering for a long time. Did the air nomads just come with that?
Is it like a birth defect
Yeah, is that
that's
just like is that born on them?
oh, one
Why
second.
does it?
But yeah, like at first we didn't know if that was like because didn't we think for a little bit that that was almost like an Avatar thing? Like that's why he
Yeah,
had the arrows.
yeah. We were really wondering where those came from. I don't think they ever explained that they were a tribal tattoo before. Anywhere in the original series.
So I like that they're building up to the fact that the tattoos are a thing.
Yeah. And I like that. I like the whole little rebellion that she kind of had about that. I thought that was a neat little in character thing for her. It's like Jinora is kind of a master airbender.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I guess it's all part of like the. I mean, she has been doing a whole bunch of neat stuff. We didn't really talk about it, but she has done a whole bunch of spirit projecting this season.
Hmm. She has been more in touch with the spirits in the Avatar. So
Yeah, she is kind of like the spiritual, like almost if like that part of Korra that should be there. But those spirit Korra's gotten a little bit better at it this
she's
season.
gotten
We'll talk
better.
about that in
I
a bit.
love that her soothing technique that she learned from Unalaq is still worthless.
Yeah,
I don't think she's ever successfully done that once to anything.
and yet you have the feeling that like Jinora could walk up to one and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey there, friend," and it would calm
You, know,
down.
you do got to give the writers kudos for not forgetting that she learned that power.
Yeah, and they've been making good. They took something in the last season that was a little frustrating, like, well, this doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
and then have brought it to something that not only makes sense but is being used intelligently,
Unlike when Aang learned how to find anyone anywhere
and never used it again. I
and
guess.
never used that power again.
I guess maybe you could only use it in swamps or something. Yeah, that was weird. There were a lot of Aang one-offs they didn't really dive into. And she managed to. I like the fact that you really do get the feeling that Boomy actually does talk to Boomju
Yeah.
more so than you're willing to. More so than I thought in the past. So I do think it is kind of interesting that that's the case. And I guess the final note I have for this episode is it's kind of a bummer that you get Clancy Brown to just do the random bison skinner. That dude was like the villain of the second season of Avatar. And Lex
Oh,
Luthor.
was that General Zhao? Admiral Zhao?
No, I can't remember the name of the Dai Li guy.
I don't remember the Dai Li guy even being very big.
What? He was all over that place.
Was he?
Yeah. He was a big part of the second season until he got double-crossed by Azula.
Okie dokie.
Trust me on this one. But
Okay.
Clancy Brown's awesome, and I think that was the only thing he did this season, which seems really weird.
Oh, this was the episode where they outright admitted that the Earth Queen ate her father's bear.
Yeah, yo, what up with that?
It's like,
Bosco,
uh,
no.
I heard she even eats her father's bear.
That's do you think that was the first Bosco though? Because I don't bears live like 13 or bears like dogs? How long do bears live?
I don't know how long bears live.
So
I
maybe she ate the second Bosco?
Maybe she ate it as a child.
Yeah, there we go. Oh god. Ugh. Ugh.
Like it was quite clear something was very screwed up with her. So
But yeah, it was a fun little episode. Which, you know what? I guess you kind of needed to take a deep breath because when I was doing the notes for the next episode, Terror Within, I thought this was 3 episodes. And the fact that all this happens in one kind of still blows my mind. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Original Airbenders?
not off the top of my head. I kind of liked it.
Okay. So Terror Within. So in this episode, Korra has finished basically kind of learning metal bending. It opens with her messing around with the wire stuff.
Hmm.
And Bolin is unable to do any kind of metal bending. There's some comedy scenes with that. Opal leaves for the Northern Air Temple. There's a great little bit about we'll always have kale. Big kale commercial in here. And then afterwards, Team Bad Guys, Zahir and his gang show up and kidnap Korra. There's an extended action sequence where the power of friends, family, and foreshadowing of a pebble allow them to save Korra.
Oh, that's right. We don't know what they're called yet.
Yeah,
Team Bad Guy.
Team Bad Guy, which we will call for another episode. Team Bad Guy does this. So after all that is done, the team then has to work on figuring out how they got in there. There's interrogations of all the guards. There's some great Varric sequences. They then realize that the Truth Seeker, the only one in the entire town, is the traitor. There's some great Bolin moments, which we'll get into. He then blows up his house, leaves the city. They then decide that, and then after this, they want to go after him, but they tell Lynn they're not. And then Sue says, "Hey, it's the middle of the night. Just leave." And that's just one episode. That feels like it could have been two.
They did a lot in that episode.
So, uh, almost like Doctor Who, there's some funny foreshadowing in this, where they have Bolin goofing around with pebbles
Hmm.
in the start of the episode, and then that's how he beats Pali in the end. Um, so what are your thoughts on this one? The Terror Within.
I'm mostly remembering the action of when they had that long ass siege in the middle of the metal bending city.
Which I can't believe is only a portion of the episode.
That was so like it was. I think it was at that exact moment, that they've really got their action back for this
Oh yeah.
series, because that was great. It was exciting. Like it was literally exciting to watch that. It was extremely it was fun to watch that. Um, is that what would like? I like they were all throwing metal and rocks at him. It's like I'm just giving him ammo, or was that later in the stakeout?
That's later. That's later
That's
on.
a
That's in the next
stakeout.
episode.
Okay.
So the deal with that one is they grab Korra, they knock her out, and there's this great little scene where like Pabu is doing like a silent scream while scratching at the window, and Bolin wakes up and has this like great like outburst of like they got Korra, and him and Mako get up. They don't get dressed or anything, and they're
Mhm.
just having like a pajama fight. Um, and that's where they create like the lava island where they need to try to figure out how to get to Korra, and Lynn and Sue actually descend from the top of the city to go
Yeah.
rescue Korra.
And that was great because we got to see people be useful. Like no one was being incompetent in this fight. For once, they were having like an even fight. I guess is why this was fun to watch because the Metal Benders and Lynn, they were on their game. Like
Two
they were,
nameless metal benders fight Zahir for the entirety of that fight.
yeah,
Like, there's no. Well, one of them might actually be a named character. If you look at the cast, Zelda Williams, the daughter of Robin Williams,
huh?
is the character that was fighting Zahir. So maybe she'll be important in the future. I can't tell. Is they had in Avatar season 3, Serena Williams, the tennis player, played a random guard once. So maybe
Really?
this is something they do.
That's weird.
But she's like, unlike, because Serena Williams played guard. If you look at the cast of this, Zelda Williams played Kivara. Like it's a named character.
Hmm.
But yeah, two nameless guards fight the big bad, while the other characters are also doing big bad things. Um, I love that the bad guys fail. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it made sense.
Well, I just dig it because like one of the things for me that hurt the tension of the first season was like at a certain point it felt like, well, how is Amon going to be impossibly great this time? The fact that it's like they get into this impenetrable city, they kidnap Korra, but then they don't get away with her. I
Hmm.
dig that. I think that's a great change of pace.
It makes them very human again.
I care a great deal about Team Bad Guy.
They have a very good balance with, like I said previously. It's just these guys are very interesting. They have a lot of just tiny moments we've seen them banter with each other so far. Like I think only like two or three at the most.
Hmm.
It is enough to make us think they're not completely terrible people. Enough to just sympathize just a small amount with them.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I could never imagine Amon or Unalaq on like a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Like, what are those guys doing when they're off the clock of being
They're riding
evil?
boats, Pat.
They're boat riding. And Unalaq is. I guess Unalaq would be hanging out with his weird, creepy twins. But but like you could easily feel like when they're not on the screen, like
Mhm.
Zahir, Pali, Minhua, and Gazan are up to stuff.
Right. But at the same time, like just looking at them, the way their style choice for them, we know these people are dangerous.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we know they aren't to be messed with, and the fact that they broke into the safest city in the world supposedly, held off for that long, and almost got away with the Avatar, I think is a real statement that these people aren't to be messed with.
yeah. All that's really great. I like the. I also like how smart Sue was for just like in the heat of the battle, she cut the air glider.
Yeah,
Like
I thought that was good.
that completely disarmed Zahir. It's like crap. I can't get out of here now. Um, so then the nuts part of this is that's like the commercial break happens here. We have another half of an episode,
Hmm.
which is awesome. And I dug this because they brought back Varric and they used him perfectly.
It's like, well, if I were the traitor,
Well, even before then, when he was interrogated, he's like, 8 o'clock, eh? Well, at that time, I was doing Varric thrusts. I work up a big sweat. If you don't believe me, I taped the whole thing. Ask Julie.
Julie, get the thing.
Julie, get the tapes. I just almost like an American Psycho thing where you can imagine that Varric watches himself exercise before
Hmm.
going to sleep. Um, but yeah, also you're talking about like they directly referenced a past event and then used it.
Yeah, well, that was a good moment too. It's like, well, if I were trying to break into the city and do bad things, this is what I would have done.
And that's what you did do. I love that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I told you, it's what I would have done.
So then after that, they come to
Oh,
the king.
that's another good moment too. I feel like Mako's actually living up to being a beat cop for once.
Yeah, I like that. He's like, wait a minute, guys. Well, it's what we wanted last season to be like. Hey, hold up. This just doesn't add up.
Hmm.
And I like that they bothered to do
Oh,
that.
I was disgusted with how long it took for them to question the truth guy.
Oh yeah, that didn't occur to anybody. Like they questioned Sue before they questioned the
Yeah,
truth guy.
right when she was about to accuse Sue, I thought she was about to accuse the truth guy. I thought that's what she's like. Yes, you're finally going to admit it. No, not Sue. The only guy who could possibly lie.
Uh, and then they go to. So after that, they go to his house, and there are two things in the house scene in particular that I love. Both of them are Bolin. Like
Uh,
there's Bolin looks in there and he's like, he's not in there, or he's outside, or in the bathroom, or he's invisible. It's like,
in a world with Sparky Sparky Boom Man, or Boom Girl now.
yeah. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I don't know what bending you would need to do. I guess water bending, if you could like refract light, could make
Light bending.
you. Who could light bend? That's heat, isn't it? Maybe science.
It's science bending.
Science bending. Can your science explain why it rains? So they go in there. Iway catches him, and then immediately it's on to Bolin Gold because he tries to come up with a cover story where like, oh, we thought you were in the bathroom, and you were like, oh no, you can come, and like
Yeah.
does like a high pitched falsetto impression of Ai to Ai.
Yeah. I love how ill prepared they were for him to come back into his own house.
That was a good kind of like
It's
that
like, oh
makes
shit,
sense.
he's coming. Everyone stay exactly where you are and talk to him.
Yeah. Oh crap, we didn't think this through. Like the fact that they forgot to have like, why wasn't like, Asami watch the door or something like that?
Like they were not prepared at all. Their only plan was, oh, he's back. All right, well, let's let him catch us going through his house.
It was almost like an Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing. Like, what are you doing here? I live here.
It's like he won't suspect a thing.
Yeah, he would never suspect his own house. And I liked the Korra used airbending to save them from the bomb.
Mm, that was neat.
Like she could have used firebending or any of that. It's like the air bubble. I liked that. I thought that was that's a fun little way to stop that. What do you think of Sue telling them to go get Ai?
That worked.
You like the fact that she's like, I'll deal with Lin. You
Yeah.
guys go.
It's like, all right, Avatar, independent, let's go.
I was so happy because it's like, yay, they're not going to Republic City. So that was Lin's like big plan. We got to go back to the city. So after Terror Within, we move on to the stakeout. And this is kind of like this is the episode where like nothing happens and then everything happens. What do you remember from that episode? Because I feel like instead of like doing a little recap, I feel like we end up doing recaps and talking about our favorite moments.
I don't remember that episode dragging on for as long as you seem to think it did.
Well, maybe maybe I sound more negative than I mean to, but they spend an awful lot of time sitting in a hotel playing Paicho and being silly, and then stuff happens.
Which I thought was pretty nice. I'm glad they've just, because I remember it's been asked of them before. It's like, are there actual rules so that we can play Paicho? And it's like, no, sorry, we're not going to make up a Paicho game.
Yeah, this
And then
rulebook
like,
says there's like infinite rules.
yeah, they just came out and said that in this episode. It's like, oh, I guess everyone plays Paicho differently. We can't come up with Paicho.
There are no true rules to this world.
And I was watching the animation too. The orientation they had on the board changed between some clips.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the corners were facing them of like a little diamond sometimes, and other times the flat pieces were.
Oh, really?
So I was like, they don't even have a setup to fall back on for the Paicho board.
I like the fact that like in the first, I like that Paicho has become a kind of a thing, because like it was like they kept using Paicho with Uncle and the White Lotus in the first one. So having it brought back was, I think, a pretty good... Maybe that was a little bit of foreshadowing to what we get revealed in the later half of the episode. Is basically they found Ai and they stake him out, and they realize that when he doesn't leave his apartment, they're like, well, something must be up. And Korra comes to the realization that Aiwei's in the spirit world, and she goes a spirit in after him. And then finds Zahir, and we get like the whole, which I like because is a double use scene. Zahir tells her like a whole bunch of exposition, all the while telling Gazan and Minhua to come get him.
I like this that they had an exposition dump right there. It's like, all right, we've only got 11 episodes or 13 episodes to deal with. Let's get this out as fast as we can. This is what we are.
We're called the Red Lotus. Did you like the Red Lotus?
I like the Red Lotus.
I really dig the Red Lotus.
Because I remember mentioned earlier, I really like the evolution they had with the White Lotus, from changing from what they used to be to what they are in Korra.
Mm-hmm.
And the Red Lotus break-off sounds perfect for that kind of thing. It's just, it feels very organic that they're doing that.
It makes perfect sense that a group would want to like splinter off after the White Lotus became just the babysitters for the Avatar.
Mm-hmm. And again, Zahir is proving to be a really interesting character because Korra shows up in the afterlife to talk to him, or afterlife, the spirit world, to talk to him. And he just like sits down and is like, all right, we'll talk.
Yeah, let's just do this. We'll hash it out. Also, he kind of spirit murders Ai.
That is... Why haven't they gone back to get him?
I guess they don't care. Deal with it.
Because they've proven they can go into those mists and get people.
That's a lot of trouble.
They've done it. It's too much work.
That'd be like a whole afternoon.
His body's gonna be dead anyways.
So what did they just bury Ai at that point? Like, what do they do with that thing?
They don't address that shit. I think he's dead. I
They,
think they just like because he's not going to be in it. No one's taking care of it.
how long did he pay for that room? Is that thing just sitting?
But yeah, Zahir was very interesting because he just sits down. He seems like again, he's a likable character. He seems sensible. Like we don't know what his goal is at this point yet,
Mhm.
but it seems like it has to be something at least somewhat logical.
Yeah. Well, he also gives the. This is where he gives the speech where it's like, well, Guru Lohima was, other than being an airbending poet, was into mad chaos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It's anarchy.
Yeah, he's like, rulers are bad. Yeah, I'm gonna do something about these rulers.
Oh, that's right. It's a terrible. I forgot about how just dumb his political philosophy is. It's like everyone should just let's kill everything that tries to lead people. That will solve all our problems.
But at least it's like, at least it's a goal you can kind of get behind.
More than I'm going to become an evil avatar and I don't know, profit.
I want to be really big and purple, and then yeah, it's better than Unalog.
Yeah, become giant evil purple thing, merge with the antithesis of all life, profit.
Profit. So at the, I think so. After all that, the end, the way this one ends is like, it's one of those good like it's bad for everybody. Like
Mhm.
Korra and Asami get swallowed up by like an Earth pyramid, and Bolin and Mako just get beat the f up. And that's the one where he's like, I feel like I'm just feeding him ammo.
Yeah, that was. They had a really fun looking fight though with the water girl and lava guy.
I like how they keep pairing up Mako against. I guess he has to fight Minghua because it's not like he can firebend against lava bending. I feel like at least Bolin can kind of create like, here's Earth in front of me, so I don't just get burnt to
Hmm.
death. Is I
And
guess yeah, there's nothing you can
well,
do against lava.
just feed him more ammo.
Yeah,
But I did like that moment. Again, back to the Sahir talk. This
yeah.
brings me to something else that I mentioned before. Why does no one just talk to Korra? It seems like their initial instinct is, well, she's in the way. Let's fight her before we talk to her about something sensible. It's like if he actually feels like he's got a good point, why didn't he bring it up there?
hmm
Like in the spirit world, it's like, nope, sorry, time for you to get kidnapped.
Well, I also
Zahir out.
I think that he did make the point he wanted to make. He's just like, yo,
Well,
the
he
Earth
didn't
is
say
unbalanced. The leaders are bad.
right, but he didn't say what he wants her for.
Hmm.
Like the whole point, I guess, because the writers don't want to spoil it yet. They want to
Intrigue.
save that until like the end of it.
Yeah,
Well, that's his goal, but he doesn't mention what the Avatar. Why does he want her for that?
that's a good point. He didn't try to convince her
That's
that
the
he's
thing.
right.
He didn't try to do anything like that. His plan is still to kidnap her. So at this point, like I don't know how it ends yet. I still don't know what he wants the Avatar for.
Mhm.
But if it was for anything where he thinks that he's absolutely right, why didn't he try to talk her into it before going through extreme measures to try and capture her?
I like that because, well, yeah, I guess that's just the difference because
It would be less
Unalaq
dramatic
was-
if he did that, but it seems to make sense.
yeah. Well, you know what? Technically, I guess the Avatar counts as a world leader, so that puts her on his docket.
No air for her. Not
No
going
air.
on.
But well, you know what? That's a perfect time to move on to the next episode called "Long Live
Long
the Queen."
live the queen.
Long live the Queen. Um, so this is an episode where there's like a very clear A and B plot.
Mhm.
Korra and Asami they wake up and it turns out that the Earth Queen actually snagged them. Out of all things, it was a group of Earthbenders that snagged them and kind of saved them from being captured by the Red Lotus, which we can now call the Red Lotus. And they have like an adventure where like they escape an airship, and in the process of doing so, Korra crashes it, and then Asami gets to be really useful for the whole episode.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I know airships. This one's cheap. I can go through it.
Yeah, I just like the whole thing where like when they burst in there and like Korra smashes all of the controls. She's like, "What were you thinking?"
It's like, they were bad guys.
It's like I hit
Korra
them.
smash.
Yeah, Korra smash. And then yeah, so there's problem solving. They make I like the fact that they made like a sand scooter or a sand schooner or whatever you want to call that thing.
Schooner, yeah.
I dug. I know it kind of feels like Asami needs to be neat, but I was totally up for Asami being neat, and I like that she got a one-liner at the end of the episode
Which one?
where she was like, "Want to buy a schooner, slightly used."
No, yeah. Dude, there was a dragon waiting for them.
There was. I
Was
like
it?
that.
That was my oh shit moment. I was like, oh shit, the dragon's there.
Zuko's there.
Zuko's there.
Hi, Zuko here. That's what he should have said. Old man Zuko still doesn't know how to introduce himself.
It's
Hello,
like
Zuko here.
it's like she died because she just walks into a cantina and it's like, awesome, Zuko's here and my dad.
Yeah, it is kind of like you go to heaven. You
It's
see,
like, and then Gran,
yeah,
my dog.
everybody's here. No, it's just Lynn. I did like the fact that they're like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "I am a detective. I
Mhm.
can figure things out."
And I think that's one of the biggest changes they made this season is no one was incompetent in change in
Yeah.
book change
That was the change.
because that was the that was the change. Because a lot of book one and book two relied on people being really dumb for the other guy to win
Hmm.
or not doing their job right, and that just hasn't been the case with this season. It's been more interesting than that.
We have metal benders. The chi blockers can't get us, and I've informed them all to look forward and not look to side or behind them. Or
Yeah. She should have resigned. That's exactly how that one should have been.
she did the right thing there.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, Mako and Bolin are basically handed over to the Earth Queen through the Red Lotus,
Mm-hmm.
and they spend some time in prison. There's some funny, goofy stuff in there. Bolin tries really hard to metal bend, like 3 times.
That was pretty funny to watch.
I like the guy next door who was like, "You could do it, stranger."
I believe in you.
I like the whole deal, like the darkest joke probably of the whole series, where he was like, "I've been here for 4 years. First couple months were okay, being away from the wife and kids, getting some quiet, but now I'm lonely."
Yeah. I was wondering the whole time why Maka wasn't trying to melt the metal bars to begin with.
Actually, my wife brought up a really great point where she's like, "Why isn't he just melting the hinges?"
Yeah, why wasn't he trying to melt through the bar? Why wasn't he trying anything? Like, why are we relying on the metal bending, which Bolin said he couldn't do?
Well, he did near the end of the episode, but he was doing it in like the dumbest way possible, where he was like cutting out the middle of the door, like the least effective spot to be cutting. And it did look kind of neat because when he was blowtorching it, he did have to continually shake his hand like he was generating too much heat back.
And it's been a while since I've seen that episode, but what was the walls of their cell made out of?
Probably Earth.
Probably Earth. Like,
I
again,
remember them being brownish.
I remember them being brownish. It's been a week or two since I've seen it.
Maybe
It seems like it's really hard to keep people imprisoned in the Avatar world.
maybe it's like a metal box that they put dirt on top of, so it's not cold. Or
Maybe that's what they do.
that's what I'll imagine. So that's not extra dumb. And while they're having their prison adventure, the Red Lotus chat up with the Queen, and when they realize the Queen is lying to them, Zahir just murders her.
Yeah. Viva la Revolucion.
It's just the whole like, is everyone was. I love the fact that I feel like people have been talking about breath bending since the first season of Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whoa, what if he breath bended a guy? Especially after blood bending, where it's like
Yeah.
you control the air in someone's lungs. So seeing somebody do it, I guess you needed to wait for an evil airbender because, you know, blood bending you can kind of be like, that's evil, but in
But you'd have to
moments,
see Aang rip the breath out of someone's face.
yeah.
That was your only option before now.
So now that you can have Zahir, and it looks terrifying because they could see like their breath around their head in a dome.
I'm a little torn about the fact that I think they knew they were going to kill her from the beginning, so they made sure she has been an unlikable person as humanly possible.
Which is, yeah, I feel like, do you think they were trying to make it still seem like, well, you can still kind of like Zahir. I know he killed a world leader, but...
Yeah, I think that, I wonder if they were just doing that to try and save Zahir's face.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give you any sympathy for her at all.
Yeah,
like, good, she's dead.
You
Move
wanted
on.
Korra to take her down. You're like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
Zahir took that. Now Korra doesn't have to get her hands dirty. Good job, Zahir. High five.
It's like, I'm wondering, shouldn't they have said that, Earth Queen was still a human? Still a person?
Not really.
No, they didn't want to do nothing to make you feel bad about that.
Which is funny because that's how it felt like with with Unalaq. It's like, oh, I guess he's gone. But
Mm-hmm.
he isn't the main villain. Like, her not being the main villain is so nice. Ah,
I think
so
again,
good.
sparking back to my probably my only favorite part of book one was the very ending on the boat.
Oh God, that
It's like just for less than a minute, all of a sudden there's a character there,
yeah,
and then boom.
yeah. Single tear explosion. So good, so good. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else in that episode? Murders the queen. He gives the like there is anarchy now radio speech.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he frees Mako and Bolin in a great fake out, where you think
Mhm.
that Bolin earth bent, metal bent for a second, and then
He
it's like
bent all the
no,
doors open.
except for ours. And Zahir gives them a message,
I
and the episode ends, I think, with the Earth Kingdom on fire.
pretty much that city went straight to hell.
Yeah, he pushed the chaos button, and everyone obliged. Um, and I still like Zahir. I still like the Red Lotus. I think that episode did not dim that like whatsoever.
No.
So the final episode we're going to talk about
And
is the ultimatum.
mhm. Well,
And this is the penultimate episode because it's kind of like the reset before the final thing. So Team Avatar gets back together. What did you think of the somewhat little lengthy, jokey sequence of the fact that they go get their family? Bolin and Mako get their family before going to find Korra and Asami.
oh yeah, and the grandmother doesn't want to leave.
She doesn't want to leave, and she doesn't want to leave her picture either. How
Yeah,
creepy is that Earth Queen photo now?
it's gonna be worth a lot now
May she rest in
because
peace.
everyone else is burning theirs.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's the only surviving photo of the Earth Queen. That's an artifact.
But one thing I wanted to bring up real quick is that it's really interesting that I just happened to be watching this around the same time that I was playing. Finally, got around to playing The Witcher 2 for forever.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just I know you didn't get very far in it, but there are a lot of similarities that I was getting between Letho, who is the assassin who's killing kings in Witcher 2, and
Both
Zahir.
bald.
They're both bald, both big, bulky, bald men, and they both kill kings.
You're right. One to one. One big circle.
I know it's all going there, and it's weird because they're also when you I don't know if you ever got to talk to Letho, but he's actually a very sensible person.
Only at the beginning of the game where you're like, hey, you, don't
Yeah.
kill that king because I'm going to get blamed. And he's like, about that slice run.
Yeah. Well, it turned out he's a very intelligent person.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a lot like Zahir. Like he knows a lot about what he's doing, and for a while, it sounded like he had a whole higher purpose in mind.
Hmm.
Although it turned out that wasn't quite the case. He was working for someone else. But for a while there, I started to see a lot of similarities between the two. So it was weird to see
That's
that
fun.
paralleled with airbending guy.
Zahir.
Zahir, thank you.
Zahir the man. So yeah, they get back together. They go over the desert. There's some other comedy. And they meet up with Korra and Asami. And Bolin has a complete nerd out about Zuko, which is great. Which I appreciate a great deal. I like it when Bolin freaks out about people.
Oh yeah, when he meets Zuko,
Fire Lord. The Fire Lord.
like that was. I think he was the audience at that point, wasn't he? Because
Yes,
that was
that's
how
how I
I was freaking out when I saw Zuko the first time. It's like, it's Zuko.
Old man Zuko. Old man Zuko. He's on deck. Look at it. He's got a dragon. So yeah, that's exactly how I felt. And also, speaking of meta moments, they had that sequence where the grandmother had that thing where she compares Asami and Korra.
Oh yeah, it's like, why aren't you dating nice girls like this?
It's like, oh, you're so beautiful. I never thought the Avatar would be so pretty. And it's like, I'm not the Avatar. Who's the Avatar? I am. Aren't you a little too muscular for a lady? It's like one of those
It's like,
great moments.
Thanks, you too.
It's like the hipster airbender where they take a shot at the audience.
Mm.
But this time I felt like it worked a little bit better. I liked Grandma doing that joke. And I guess the other part of this episode is they try to warn. So, oh yeah, Mako's big surprise after they all have their hugs and hellos is like, hey, Tenzin's gonna go kill all the airbenders.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do something about that. And their radio doesn't work well enough, so they need to go to the Metal Kingdom. And they go to the Metal Kingdom, they make the call, and then they just so happen that the amount of time it takes to get to the Metal Kingdom and make a phone call is the exact amount of time it took Zahir to reach the air temple.
Hmm.
And then we get a really great action sequence.
Probably one of their best ones yet this season.
Yeah, where it's a three-way fight. Tenzin takes on Zahir. Boomy runs away from Minghua. No, does he fight Gazan? Technically, I know he doesn't really fight. He kind of runs.
Who are you talking about?
Is it Waterbender versus is it Waterbender versus Waterbender, or did Kaya fight the Lava Bender?
Kai was fighting Boomy Lady.
No, she was in a blimp, just like
Yeah, she's taking pot shots.
Kaya, Aang's
Kaya,
daughter.
no, Kaya was fighting the water.
Oh yeah, because she knocked her off at one point. The
Yeah,
water
they
lady
had
goes
some
back up. with
really great
spider legs.
moments of when when Octo Arm Lady was throwing like ice boomerang blades of death at her, and Kaya was turning them around back at her.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
great fight.
They had some like a lot of it you didn't see because a lot of it was Boomy running away from Lava Dude.
Going, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, I don't want to die like this.
That was my like. The action itself was great and probably some of the best they've done for this season yet.
Oh yeah,
But the best moment at all was all of a sudden Tenzin.
yeah,
All of a
dude.
sudden, man, Tenzin.
Tenzin, man.
Tenzin, who even this very season was being worthless again.
They have that thing where it's like, we're gonna keep you hostage till the Avatar gets here, and he's just like, no, and blows everyone.
Yeah, that moment right there was like, boom! Just air blast everyone away.
And the fact that if others did not get involved, he totally had Zahir's number.
Oh god, well, that was a great. The whole lead up was great. Here was like, I'm so happy to finally meet an airbending master, and it's like, well, I'm gonna fight you now. It's like, oh well.
There's like, and I love the differences because Zahir is this guy that has thought about airbending, and is like and just because he has it puts him on a leg above other people, but against an actual airbender. Like there's this great scene where like he's trying to hop. He's like hopping and scrambling around the mountain. Well, Tenzin is practically just floating, like is gracefully floating after him to go whoop his ass. And basically, unfortunately, Kaya and Boomy do not win their fights.
No.
And the episode basically ends on this super dark moment where they're all just wailing on Tenzin.
Yeah. But that's another great moment for Tenzin because even though he got beaten, like you see that he's really got a strong character to him.
He has the also super unfortunate makes you worry more than anything in the world line of where he goes, as long as I still have breath, I will defend the Avatar. It's like, don't mention that word.
Yeah. It made me worried, but then they just beat him.
Yeah, senseless.
Like they didn't take his breath right then and there, but there was for a second. I was like, "Oh no, don't! They're not gonna kill Tenzin here, are they?"
You know what to say here to be like funny? You'd say the word breath, buddy. Nice breath. I think I'll take it. And I guess the other side thing to this episode is that Kai gets knocked off a mountain, and then the closing bit of the episode is that a baby bison finds Kai, and he flies off to go get help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's episodes 7 through 11 of Avatar. I love this season so much.
This season has been so good. I would love to know what they did, like just creatively. What did they think to themselves that this one turned out so much better?
Yeah, I would really love to know that too, because like this one just it is such a better. It's a great series. So I guess I already know. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the themes that they wanted to hit in the first season at least are showing up here. Like a lot of the things they wanted to do with just the feeling of the city, the limited kind of like the new world kind of 1920s jazz feeling they wanted, I think came through a lot better here than it did in their previous seasons.
Yeah, and the world just feels bigger. All the characters just I dig it. I feel like, and they figured out how to be funny again.
It's probably the most important thing they did.
The show is laugh out loud funny. There are a lot of moments where you're just real, like between Bolin
Milo.
And Milo, yeah.
This is your commanding officer. Get your father.
Yeah. And Korra is really a great character now.
I like her a lot. And again, I feel like they've had a unique character for a while, but now that character is likable.
You know what? I went back and watched the first couple episodes. I think Korra gets an unfair amount of criticism because the real villain of this entire series is Mako. And Mako's Suckfield is so huge that he makes people think that Korra's the bad character.
He really
all his
is.
fault.
Yeah.
If you go back, like the terrible love triangle that was a bummer in the first season, Mako's fault. Season 2, all of the bad love advice, Mako's fault. He is the hidden villain. And the fact that this episode starts out with the characters basically saying out loud, "Yo, fuck Mako," is one of the best decisions they've made.
Right. And even Mako's kind of redeemed himself in this season.
Yeah.
Like, he's still the same person, but now we can all make fun and have fun with that.
Yeah, like we're all okay. Like he no longer feel like you can almost feel like that character thought he was the star. He definitely doesn't feel like he's the star anymore.
Yeah.
And that I like. So what are your predictions? I can't say anything because I've already seen it. So what do you want out of the final?
I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what they're going for with this. They've got nothing for me to really go on.
Yeah. You know that there's got to be a big confrontation. They have the airbenders. So it's going to be the airbenders need to be rescued from the Red Lotus. So
and at this moment, it's hard to believe that the season's going to be over in one episode.
I miss it already. I'm so bummed that there isn't more. I'm probably going to go back and rewatch like the first series. Oh, I dig it a lot. So I guess that's our discussion on Korra then. I guess next week we'll finish up. We'll do the close of Korra in the next episode of Doctor Who.
Sounds right.
Alrighty. Well, that this was a chat. I guess I think that's it for the episode. I guess I'll see you later.
I'll see you.
See you, Matt.